main compound here on Palangonia is in many ways like a massive great prison, thick stone walls, machine gun turrets, a heavy law enforcement presence. But at the same time it has a library, a cinema, and 3 Costa coffee shops, so I shouldn't knock it too much. Over 6,000 people are housed within the walls, and aside from their occasional attacks on the compound gates with their spears and their bows and arrows, as well as their repeated claims that we've annexed their sacred land and defiled their heritage, the native Palangonian tribespeople have welcomed us with open arms. But of course, the best thing about the compound is also the very reason I'm here. My football club, Palangonia FC, the beating heart of the community. Sure, it's a small operation at the moment, but listen, you got to start somewhere. And yes, okay, there are some people who believe that funding a football team during a time of galactic war is an appalling frivolity. I won't name names, that's not my style, but General Lee is one of them. The way I look at it is this: if not for the beautiful game, the unparalleled glory of a last-minute winner, the jaw-dropping splendour of an overhead kick, the agonizing outstretched arm of the goalie keeping a well-struck penalty at bay, then what the bloody hell are we even fighting for? How can the displaced people of Earth, the ones who drew the short straw and ended up out here at the rotten arse end of space anyway, possibly hope to keep that stiff upper lip in place without the prospect of going to the match on a Saturday afternoon and watching my boys take on a side from a neighbouring nebula? That's why Palangonia FC is here. That's why Kevin Keegan is here. That's why it matters. It's really all we have left. Palangonia FC. I closed the door to the dressing room, the distant hum of the crowd extinguished with the click of the latch. I stared straight down, puffed out my cheeks, and shook my head in dismay. "Just not good enough, is it?" I said to my shoes. "Not good enough at all. You've bottled that. You've disappointed me today, boys." There were a few awkward coughs and the clacking of boot studs on the floor. I sized up my players in turn, each of them looking anywhere but in my direction, except for little Dunk, my left back, though he's severely cross-eyed, so it's hard to tell either way. My midfield general, Wiggins, looked terribly out of shape and was blowing out of his arse, to be quite frank. I made a mental note to forbid him from going back for seconds during the next pre-match roast dinner. Gribble, central defender of giraffe-like proportions, was staring sullenly at his boots. My holding midfielder, A.D. Payne, a thorn in my side, who stubbornly refused to ever do a damn thing I told him, had let us down badly after I shouted to him to keep the energy up midway through the second half. He had promptly sat down in the centre circle for a rest. It had been a shameful showing from all of them. They weren't fit to wear the shirt. Wiggins, quite literally. "We should have had the beating of that shower today," I huffed. "This Piscean side are punching well above their weight in this division, and yet you let them walk over you and take away all 3 points. It's disgraceful, actually." Now, Kev, let's be fair," said a voice beside me. "The ref gave them the rub of the green." I turned to look at my assistant, eyebrows raised in surprise at his interjection. For me, Jerry Francis is 1 in a million. No, let me dial that back a bit. 1 in 100, let's say. A solid pair of hands. The funny thing is, although we got along fine and occasionally saw one another socially, Jerry and I never worked together at all back on Earth in the years before the Lazul invasion. He just so happened to be on the same evacuation shuttle as me when Earth went all to buggery, and it's always nice to see a familiar face. It's actually quite a heartwarming story, if you look past the genocidal context. "Don't forget that handball they got away with at 0-0, Jerry went on. "The 4th official told me the ref couldn't give it on account of the Pisceans having flippers rather than hands. That old chestnut." There were a few murmurs.